This episode of the Scrub Club Script Tub is sponsored by Mush NAF Bombs. Mush. Attack your senses, not your wallet. Thank you for tuning into the Scrub Club Script Tub, the only podcast floating in its own filth. You ever seen this fucking movie? It's crazy, dude. This is your content warning now, because 25% of this movie relates to physical abuse, and there's some pretty heavy stuff in there that's essential for your almost understanding of this movie, which is loosely, and we'll come back to that, loosely based around Prince's life. Purple Rain follows the story of the kid, aptly named. Prince was like 5'1", and it's really obvious they're trying to hide that fact in all the shots. Top that off with some pube fuzz and a rock and roll bedroom in his parents' basement. And you've got the front man of the revolution, looking like he should be at a wedding, drinking a J2O, and skidding across a hardwood floor on his knees. Boys do that still, right? I used to do that, I remember doing that. That, I believe, is exactly the reason why Billy Sparks, club owner, and Morris Day of The Time plot to sack Prince from their lineup. Oh, you don't remember Morris Day and The Time? I haven't stopped hearing Jungle Love since I first saw this movie a year ago. Forget about them though. Think about Apollonia, a newcomer to Massachusetts? And she's come to this city to pursue her dream of becoming a singer at a shitty nightclub. But how do you do that? Hard work? Determination? Nepotism? How about thwacking a waitress and demanding a job? How about that? Because it fucking almost works! Prince is on stage right now, as you can plainly see, but I'm writing a script. That's how this works. Peel back the curtain and oh no! It's flesh! Human flesh! And none of it's mine! When he's done prancing around like the iconic, genre-defying, artistic thunderstorm that he is, Prince approaches Apollonia. He'd seen her, you know, from stage, and he took a liking to her. How to talk to girls at parties. Don't fucking say a word, just stare. Just stare for literally 80 seconds. Do this. And then vanish from sight. He's gotta go. He's gotta get home before 8 PM because if he breaks curfew again, he won't be able to go to prom at the end of the year. Things take a turn here though. The kid finds his father attacking his mother. Very dramatic. Almost like it's from a totally different movie and crowbarred into this one because... well, this one's got Prince in it. People are gonna see this movie. And if it was part of a better film, it could probably lead somewhere towards causing Prince problems with controlling his own emotions and anxieties, leading him to be awkward and silent in a conversation, a shut-in to begin with, and later we'll resolve that issue with the kid becoming a better man than his father, but whoa! Hold your horses, we're walking with the boys. Morris Day's got a plan, you see. Morris Day, from The Time, is gonna replace the Revolution with a hip, sexy girl group. Not too sexy, of course. That was Billy Sparks' request. He says, verbatim, "Yeah, dude, nice one, buddy. I don't want like sexy though, you know, nothing too dirty, cause, you know, we're not running a strip club here." Now remember this, because Morris Day certainly doesn't. Then he goes and does this. Can't trust a man like that, no sir. Now while we're trying to keep track of that, meet Wendy and Lisa, members of the Revolution. They're trying to write new music because Let's Go Crazy just ain't cutting the mustard. Prince doesn't like it. He hates it even. He's the artist after all. Wendy and Lisa? Nothing but, I don't know, 3/6 of the band? You got all that? I don't think I'm done. Am I done? We got Prince's hero's journey. We've got Morris Day's as yet untitled girl group, a domestic violence subplot, a star-crossed lovers bit, as well as Apollonia's whole solo deal, and now Trini and Susanna trying to get a little sugar. It's a lot to take in, man. The kid, hot on the trail of love, seeks Apollonia out in the midnight midtown streets, like a bloodhound, demands her anklet, aimlessly walks her around the block like a fucking chihuahua, after which they drive into the daytime. Apollonia opens up about her dreams. She's looking for a gig, but there's nothing around at the minute. It's a bit of a bummer, but it doesn't get her down. She's just trying her best. And predating white boys on Tinder by a whole 24 years, the kid just asks her if being famous would make her horny. Don't stop there though. Time to start questioning whether or not anybody should have mentioned that this movie was autobiographical or quasi-autobiographical, whatever the fucking thing I read was.
Prince, in his first motion picture, before he created the music, he lived every bit of it. Prince, the story, the struggle, the movie. He lived every bit of it, every bit of it.
You see, the kid doesn't want to help this poor aspiring singer unless she strips off her entirely leather ensemble and baptizes herself in a lake of his choosing, which happens to be a different lake from the one they're standing next to. Ho ho! Classic Prince. Look at his face! Absolutely devoid of remorse, even in the soft light of some titties. As a critic of the utmost seriousness, I think that this is implying that Prince hated women. Now, I'm not saying that Prince hated women, but the dude clearly had this plan from the get-go, you know? And he didn't even bring like a change of clothes or a towel. That's head-to-toe animal hide, son. And she's gonna slap her damn self back into it in autumn? That's fucked, bro. Playful. Out of context maybe, but I've seen this movie about 9 times now, and it only gets worse. Back to the city, lads. It's Mel and Sue, and they're back making money moves. The two of them very gently ask the kid whether or not he can maybe, just perhaps, take a few moments out of his busy schedule of looking at himself in the mirror to listen to their recording, and he pies them off with a fucking puppet show. Hates women, hates them. Then the tone drops. The puppet begins to speak to them directly, like a conduit. Look, those lips ain't moving, that's no ventriloquist act, mate. So I'm calling it here. This is the first appearance of the Dark Prince, a manifestation of his deepest desires and animal instincts. No longer soft and wet, he becomes the true gold experience. There's like this whole bit here where Apollonia and the kid peep on his folks making computer blue on a hot and heavy Saturday night, and then he graphically fingers her for about 40 seconds, but I guess I'll just skip over that because I can't think of somewhere to put it in the script. Because the kid's got magic fingers, Apollonia pawns her anklet to buy him a shiny white guitar, and in return he gives her his earring. It's nice. After seeing the violence he'd grown up around, he still turned out to be a fairly well-adjusted person, capable of expressing his feelings perfectly well, until she tells him that Morris Day has offered her a job! Yeah, buddy, on her way to success, and the kid fucking backhands her. Sure, Apollonia's new job means that she'll inevitably replace the revolution, but there's absolutely no reason why the kid would know that. He's just mad that she's doing something for herself, I think. I've watched it a lot. You know, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on at this point. He doesn't find out that he's getting replaced until the next scene, after he emerges once more as the Dark Prince cometh. He's gonna get ya with his whip chain. A pull. When he's told the fairly devastating but not an excuse news, it's time for an angsty bike ride out of the city to the tune of When Doves Cry, where he crouches at pond and thinks about the sex he's had recently. What a life I've led, he says. Who will be the one to fill my dark soul with light? Upon returning home, the kid finds that his mother has been attacked once more. Anger overtakes him. His newfound acceptance of his emotions causes him to seek out his father and put an end to this. What actually happens, though, is he's distracted by his father's piano playing and instead receives 2 life lessons. 1, never write down your music, and 2, don't get married, I think. And then the dad leaves to lean on this wall. I know I'm sparks noting this movie for comic effect, but that is beat for beat what happens. That scene's just over now. Around this time, the kid listens to Patty and Selma's record, which is good because it's Purple Rain, and we're gonna need that so this fucking movie can end. Prince is so greasy in this scene that I want to set up a curling tournament and whiz him down a Tim Hortons donut counter. Instead, he has a breakdown, dick down to the ground a few times, and then throws a tantrum, leaving the stage wide open for the debut of the Apollonia 6. They do a slick little number and it goes very well, nice and clean, bit of sexiness, but it's subtle. So subtle, in fact, that these boys have to take off their glasses to get a better look. That guy can see a raspberry beret. How better to relax after all that hard work than to have a couple of berries with Morris Day from the time, boy? All good fun until he A, tries to fuck her, and B, gets fucking murked by Prince when he runs him over and literally steals Apollonia off the streets. In order of appearance, they then kiss under a bridge, he punches her again, and then he drives off, leaving her in her pants, alone on midnight, because Prince hated women. There's no tension breaker here. The kid just rides straight home to find that his mother is missing. Dad's at it again, clearly leaning on a wall didn't help. As the kid goes over to inspect his father, the man shoots himself in the head. Police question the kid. His surging emotions cause him to consider the same fate, given his own actions. Had he turned out to be just like his father? When it all becomes too much, the kid starts destroying the room around him, only to discover reams and reams of his father's music, written down on paper. Get it? He was just being a cunt. But that's not what the kid gleans from this. In fact, the kid doesn't take anything from this experience. There is no resolution. It doesn't paint violence as good or bad, just a natural part of life. Isn't that fucked? Like, yeah, bro, just fucking hit shit till the music comes out of you. That's healthy. You can resort to violence if you want, up to you, mate. But you're gonna be real sad about it afterwards, and that's a bummer, dude. Anyway, we've got 10 minutes to wrap up this movie after an entire performance from Morris Day and The Time to make sure that you don't think about all the boring bits where no one was doing the jitterbug or whatever. Prince plays Purple Rain for Wendy and Lisa to at least wrap up one story within reason, because Apollonia just up and forgives him for the 2 times that he hits her. Not even a sucker punch, a quick whoopah in the throat with your fucking keys. This movie ends with the song I Would Die For You, which, I don't know, I think that's pretty apt. If you take it to mean I will be there for you forever, or at least until I get really sad, hit things too much, and then die. Bye.